All right, this is Carmen DeSalio. With me is Jimmy Moses and Don Jones. We're going to give you a little background on this national. Don, you know this lady.
This was a great lady. She was one of the wealthy New England spinster, I guess is what they would have called her. She never married and didn't have family. And she spent her life dedicated to the German Shepherd dog and improving the breed. And she was probably the finest trainer of the dogs that we've had. She could do anything with them. And her dogs did all kinds of interesting things.
Look at those judges, Jim. You won everything at this show. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, Ray Smith did intersex, and he was one of the better judges of that particular time as far as being able to recognize and evaluate proper side gait. He didn't always have a real good judging procedure because he'd many times make a race out of it, but he had a good eye for dogs.
He used to run around the ring with the dogs, a little bit like Jim Norris did.
Yeah, it would mostly be for show, but
when he did it, it was a performance always. Even the drama involved with the way he came running up to point at the dog when it was the winner.
At this particular national, Julius Dew got up at the dinner and gave his speech, and he was I thought it was a remarkable thing that he did. He admitted that the crowd pressured him into putting the spread by exhibitor bitch reserve, and he really didn't care for her, but the crowd swayed him with their clapping and screaming, and he admitted he made a mistake, and I thought that was pretty good for a guy to get up and publicly admit that he didn't think he did the right thing.
He admitted he may have. He wasn't quite sure he wanted to do that.
This is the year Barbara Amadon ran the open dog class backwards for about 15 laps. I was lucky enough to win, and go winner's dog, but I don't think I got in the backwards running. On my half of the class, we went the proper direction.
For anyone who doesn't recognize her, that is Barbara Amadon. There she's got her winners.
Barbara has the Amadon kennels, all of you probably know. Winner's dog. Did you show that dog, Jim?
Yes, Hagenhage's Dapper Dan. That's me with a little longer sideburns and about 80 pounds less weight on me. This dog was also Canadian Grand Victor the next year under Irving Applebaum. He was best of opposite sex to Sweet Dixie of Friendship. That's a bitch I showed at that particular show also.
If I remember right, this is one of Lance's first
right, this is Lance of Franjo's son. Quite an exceptionally good side mover this dog was.
He's a nice dog all the way around. He looked
very animated mover too.
Looked a little bit like his daddy did when he was young.
This dog was also the maturity victor under Ray Smith.
Irvin Applebaum, you just mentioned, owned quite a great dog that everybody's heard about. And his name was?
Troll and Richterbach.
That's the one. He was the grandsire of Lance and the great-grandsire of this dog you just saw. What do we have in there right now?
Looks like bitches. I don't know what bitch class it is. I'm trying to get a little close-up of the dog so I can figure that out.
Well, it's Julius Dew, and he did bitches, so it's got to be a... We're so far away. We're not down to see the dogs. That's a little better. We need to be even closer.
Well, it's a good-sized class, that's for sure.
hairdos sure were different, weren't they?
Sideburns and long hair were in.
And Winter's bitch was a bitch imported by Ernie Loeb and handled by Butchie Loeb.
That's Dr. Martin Loeb now. That's
No,
Ed
that's Ed
Lasanska.
Lasanska, but Ed showed Ernie's bitch that year. I wonder if this was the same bitch or not, if it was recent.
This is Winter's bitch, the way they...
I didn't remember Ed showing her, but who knows, the way we did things then, he might have just moved her for the photographs.
Pretty bitch.
Hey, Ernie imported his share of really good dogs.
You know, I talked to him at last year's National, and he told me that when he was a young boy, he talked with Von Stefanik some about the breed.
Yep.
Very interesting story.
There's
There's
Dave
Ray
Rinke in the
Smith.
background with dark hair.
That's
a lot
Ray
more.
Smith in the foreground looking at something. Is he judging a
This may be
futurity?
the futurity or maturity finals. We have to see. Huh? If I can see the dogs, I don't know what.
He takes on some of these poses and expressions. There's Doug Crane in the middle of the picture right now.
And Bob Denton right behind him.
Denton right behind him.
Well, we certainly have a lot better quality in today, huh?
Oh, yes.
Well, looks like Mannix won this year.
Right. There's a picture of Mannix. And that's the lower on the left.
Mannix of Frangio was his full name. Great brother Ford's. That's Ray Smith and the at that time president of the Shepherd Club, Don Hadsel. Is that his name?
Yep.
Just forgot. I almost forgot his name. I knew him fairly well. The striped blazer suit. That must be Terry. Is that who that was?
Right. Terry Howard showed the lower. She was owned by Luke Garrity.
Bidscono group. Is that Jerry Graham we just passed?
That's Mannix. He was one of the better movers from the side of his time.
I judged Mannix as a class dog.
There's Joe Bahari being talked to.
Where did you judge him? Wasn't it out in Dallas?
I
or
judged
Houston?
him at the Fort Worth Special
Fort
as a
Worth,
class dog. And he went the best of winners, and I think Jesse James was best of breed that day. A relative of his.
Those are the select bitches going around.
I think I saw Don Killian.
Yep, he had the second place. There's Mannix. Second place there is Aslam of Robbinsway.
And
There's Arnav and Kirkfuss Holly was in fourth with Doug.
that was Sam Lance's dog. Sam and Marion Lance's dog.
Right, he was a Grand Victor in '69 under Bob Denton. This is Aloha. She was a very, very animated mover. know, she didn't have quite the hindquarters that we see winning today either.
No.
She's a very functional bitch and very ground covering, but I'm sure in today's standards they'd figure she lacked hindquarters.
They don't need all of that hindquarter to move.
At the proper shepherd speed, this was a tremendous moving bitch, and she could go all day. Mrs. Mannix.
You watch, this dog has the correct locomotion, like Lance did. He bends the right joints. He's flexible and athletic.
It was difficult to move them here. They were used to using the whole arena to move, and then you had to gate them around in a little, very tiny circle here so we'd stay into the lights. But this dog was really a very good side mover.
Who is this?
Sherwin's Dominator. He was Skip Herman. This dog won several majors from the puppy class. He also was quite an animated mover and quite a big dog too. As them, I don't know. I think they were also mad. Lamar and the Robinsons were aggravated. They maybe didn't stay. This dog was the Grand Victor 2 years before under Bob Slay. Not Bob Slay. I'm sorry, Bob Dutton in. Was it Phoenix?
Yeah,
Arizona?
69.
69. The same year DeKalb's Heidi was Grand Victors.
This dog had great character.
Yep.
Finest character in the world.
I believe this is Jafaroo, isn't it?
No, it's Lamar.
No, Lamar
No, it's
showed
not
up
Lamar.
Aslan. He was second. I don't know who this guy is. No, that's not Aslan. Oh, what am I talking about? That's a dog I finished his championship. That's Apache Incredible. I finished him up in New England that year. I don't know who that is. It isn't though. But I finished this dog's championship. This is a dog I finished D'Artagnan from the same kennel. And it's one of the daughters of the people that owned him. This was another medium-sized dog, but a very good side mover, very coordinated.
He also is correct in both ends. One.
Problem is, most of these dogs here, Ray Smith really moves you a lot. And
They're worn out.
yeah, they're pretty tired.
Actually, Ray used to move you when he didn't need to move you because he
Sure.
wasn't looking at you.
Yeah. That's the bitch that Don Keeley was showing.
Ricky's
Jet
mom?
Dolly. Yeah. She was a Canadian Grand Victrix under Bob Hamilton the preceding year.
Bob Hamilton's former president of the German Shepherd Dog Club of America. Lived out in Scottsdale, Arizona.
What was the
Tempe,
name of
Arizona.
that Gilligan's brother that Ann Mustang owned? Harrigan, yeah. She was best of opposite at the Canadian National, and Harrigan was
Grand Victor.
Grand Victor there. Now this bitch was quite a fleet side mover, and you can see here she's pretty wore out. She's just
Hammer
barely
looks
going
like
along.
he's worn out too.
Yeah.
Well, after a whole day of running, I guess everybody's tired.
Right. Especially if you run those dogs in tight little circles.
It's hard to read what's up there on that. Is that Geisha? That's
Right. This is another bitch of Ernie Loeb's. This bitch was winner's bitch in '69 at the National when Harry Schneider judged. This is an imported bitch, and it's Martin Loeb handling. It's another imported bitch.
Martin is Ernie Loeb's second son. He's a professor at the University of Maryland.
You can see he's having a difficult time making her go in little circles too. There's Ernie double handling her. That's why I got accused of starting it. You notice Ernie was chirping at her. That's why she looks better than most of the rest of them going on.
They were double handling.
This first love here was the fifth. This bitch was a Grand Victrix the next year under, I think with puppies 2 weeks old, she was Grand Victrix under Connie Beckhart. When Scorpio was Grand Victor. Scorpio was best of breed in Grand Victor, and she was best opposite. No, that's Jerry Graham.
Jerry Graham.
Yeah.
Oh, she went up.
No, Jerry Graham showed my bitch for me when I was finished for Lorraine Clifford.
This bitch has really nice style.
Joe Barr is showing his own bitch. But Joe was a handler.
This is a bitch Ernie imported. I believe he sold her to Troches, I think.
That's Jim Hedge, sure.
Right. I believe this is, I'm not positive that Ernie imported her, but this is a bitch that I'm pretty sure was owned by Edie Trochy up in Massachusetts.
It's too bad we don't have a catalog so to look some of these things up.
Yeah, we are going back a few years here. That's Nick Kay, and is that Mary Southcott judging too? The two of them.
Yeah.
Yep, Nick Kay and Mary Southcott.
Mary Alterton did Obedience and Confirmation at the National Specialty Shows. A very attentive working dog with a good attitude about it.
Without a doubt, this is an excellent dog, well trained, obviously responsive to his handler.
With his attitude is good while he's working. Keeps his ears up, wags his tail. German Shepherd, that is a good working German Shepherd that is trained well does that. They don't walk around with those cowed looks whenever they've been trained right. That's young Chip Rayner right there, known as Ken Rayner Jr. You must be there. 14.
And he wears the same trademark as his father, the White Sox.
This is Echoland Shiloh, maturity Victor.
And you see a much more rear angle on this dog than we've been seeing on most of them.
Well, this must have been about the time of the better angulated dogs coming on the scene.
At least more angulated.
Some people say that all began with Lance. What do you guys think?
Well, I basically started with Lance too, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, from the photographs and that, the dogs before them were. This happens to be his sister too, Stardust. She wasn't quite as animated or as extreme, but she moved really fluid. And I always really liked this particular bitch too.
But many times as the rear angulation developed more, we also developed a little a straighter forearm on many of them.
This is a bitch I purchased and sold to people by the name of Comas. Jack and Anita Coma from Rochester, New York. Joe Coma.
Roseanne's first winner.
Jerry Graham with hair.
Expect all of these dogs to be fairly clean going and coming. Ray would have certainly put more emphasis on side movement. Obviously an unsound dog going away, it will show up from the side as well.
This is a winner's dog. Was best of opposite in the maturity.
Well, Lance had several big winners if you showed it.
You see, this dog has what I would consider moderate, and it's correct angulation, but it's moderate. But he used himself just as well as the dog that had considerably more angulation.
This dog also was the best in show winner. I think about 2 weeks after this, 3 weeks after this, he was finished, and I won the Charleston specially under Dewey, and it was in conjunction with an Albrecht show, and some Irish, Mal Downing gave him the group, and I don't remember the name of it, but an Irish setter breeder gave him best in show.